Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. I got an email from Vanessa Chanel. Subject line, "You are the chosen ones of our days, and for the strength of you." All right, and then in the body of the email, she says, "Hi Jared, I hope you and your family are doing well." Thank you, Vanessa. We are. Just went on a nice drive, saw a nice sunset. I just had a wonderful weekend at this year's Come Unto Christ, a YSA conference. This is their second year. And on Sunday, we finished the conference with a devotional from Sister and Elder Uchtdorf. They had wonderful talks, and while I feel like they had so many quotable moments, what stood out most to me, or out to me the most, was Sister Uchtdorf telling us that, quote unquote, "You are the chosen ones of our days." And Elder Uchtdorf stating that we should see the For Strength of Youth pamphlet as, quote unquote, "for the strength of you." And it's interesting. I'm about to show you something that I caught. I watched part of his talk, not the whole thing, but he said something really interesting about this pamphlet and about the second coming. Okay, continuing. What I find interesting about both of these quotes is that these were given to an audience of young single adults that now ranges from 18 to 35, ranging from 1988 to 2006, if I did my math right. I don't know. I'm sure that you did. I'm not going to check. And I love how Elder Uchtdorf acknowledged that even though we are no longer the target audience, the pamphlet is truly for everyone. I'll post the link to the devotional so you can watch it if you'd like. Thank you for all you do, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. You too. And the day's coming to a close, but it has been a wonderful day. Okay, and then she provides the link to the broadcast so you can watch it yourself. I'll put a link for it in the description box below. But I went ahead and I found that quote that Vanessa was talking about from Sister Uchtdorf. And then like I said, I looked at Elder Uchtdorf's talk and I found an interesting quote there. So let's look at that right now. So I'm putting both of these quotes on my spreadsheet called Quotes Rising Generation. Okay. If you're new to the channel, I have multiple spreadsheets for quotes. I have kind of like this big master one that's quotes A through Z. It's by topic, but there are some topics that merit their own spreadsheet. And one of those is the rising generation, because I want to be able to view it as a timeline and how far back church leaders have made these like generational quotes. All right. So here's the one from Sister Harriet Uchtdorf. She says, "You are the chosen ones of our days, who, by word and deed, teach and live the gospel message wherever you are. For this purpose," and she really stressed this part, "for this purpose, you are placed in your city, your school, your workplace, and your family." And this reminded me of President Nelson when he was doing those area devotionals. There was a series of, it was a specific series of area devotionals, and there were only 5 of them. Okay. And during this series, I heard him stress this a number of times, specifically the area devotional for California and then the one for Europe. He took note of the spiritual situation in these places because Europe, California, they're not necessarily known for religious values so much anymore. Those are areas that kind of struggle with secularism. But he talked about the fact that members in the church, specifically the youth, were born and live in the cities that they do and go to the schools that they go to so that they can reach those in need. So this must be something that they talk about, from time to time. But I've noticed that a couple times now, and now Sister Uchtdorf is saying it. I decided to put this quote on my quotes A through Z spreadsheet under foreordination doctrine of election. The doctrine of election is simply, before this life, there was a premortal Israel. There were those that were righteous, those that were more valiant, and depending on how you lived before this life determines where you come when you're born into this life and what family you go to and so on and so forth. So I have a lot more quotes about that. This is on my quotes A through Z. It's currently on row 161. The link for my spreadsheets is in the description box of each video if you want to look through that. Okay, and then let's read the quote that I took down from Elder Uchtdorf. All right, he says, "For the Strength of Youth was published almost 2 years ago under the direction and approval of the First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 Apostles. I announced this revision in the opening session of General Conference in October 2022. President Russell M. Nelson, our dear prophet, whom we all love and admire, concluded his message with these words, quote, now listen to this. This is something that we've repeated so many times on the channel. This is a stunning quote. It's a stunning thing for a prophet of God to say. One crucial element of this gathering is preparing a people who are able, ready, and worthy to receive the Lord when he comes again. A people who have already chosen Jesus Christ over this fallen world. A people who rejoice in their agency to live the higher, holier laws of Jesus Christ." And then he stated, "I call upon you, my dear brothers and sisters, to become this righteous people." What people? The people who are prepared, who are able, ready, and worthy to receive Christ when he comes again at the second coming. President Nelson called upon us to be that people. And then Elder Uchtdorf continues, "My dear young friends," and then he pauses, "I believe that For the Strength of Youth is an ideal resource to help us become that kind of people. This guide for making choices is a call to set aside negative worldly influences and let God prevail in your lives." So that conference really was special. Let me, I'm just thinking of this right now. Let me remind you of what was said about the October 2022 General Conference. Let's see. October. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So this is a quote from Sister Nelson from one of those devotionals. This was the Alberta and British Columbia area devotional. And look what she said about the October 2022 General Conference. And I think the reason why she said this is because this was a conference where the prophet called upon the church to be the people of the second coming. Like clearly, plainly. And you can't find that in other conferences. There is a lot of mention of the second coming, but like a direct invitation, I call upon you. This is the only time, October 2022. So, okay, so she said, this was just shortly after that conference, like a few weeks later. "Here's the truth. The adversary goes to extraordinary lengths to try and prevent truth from being spoken and to try and prevent truth from being received. We knew that the October 2022 General Conference was going to be a singular experience based solely upon the number and intensity of trials and attacks prior to conference. That's probably all I need to say about that at this point. However, look me up in the next world and I'll tell you more, a lot more." And then later on, she put this up on the screen. So whenever you put something up on the screen, you're highlighting it. So this was written out, what I'm about to read, this next part. "Two friends of ours who were leaders of MTC, but are now serving as senior missionaries in Malta, wrote us and said, quote, 'This conference was the very best. President Nelson, we feel you have asked us to get on the ark,' end quote." So you guys, Sister Nelson, the prophet's wife, putting this up on the screen. If this isn't a hint, if this isn't like a friendly reminder of where we're at and what we need to do, then I don't know what is. If this isn't a breadcrumb, I don't know what is. She put this up. "We feel you have asked us to get on the ark," and that the October 2022 General Conference, where he called on the church to be the people that are able, ready, and worthy to receive Christ at the second coming, was a singular experience, and they knew that because of the sheer number and intensity of trials and attacks before General Conference. I've always felt ever since that time that that was a special General Conference, and I still do. Okay. I really think there's reason to believe that. There's there's three general conferences that really stand out to me. The first one was the April 2019 General Conference, where he showed the picture of Paradise, California, all burnt down. And then at the end of the talk, he says time is running out. And you have to watch his body language, listen to his tone of voice, listen to how he pauses. He really meant it. So that was 5 years ago, a little over 5 years. And then the April 2020 General Conference, he was really stressing the importance of that conference. We did the Hosanna shout, the new church symbol was introduced, the new proclamation, and other things. And then October 2022, where he called on us to be the people of the second coming. And now here we have, just a few days ago, Elder Uchtdorf repeating that and talking to the young single adults in this devotional and saying, hey, you should take a look at that pamphlet. It's not just for youth. It's for you too. And it's to help you to be that people who are ready for Christ when he comes. So one last thing, I want to give you an update on this. You'll notice these columns over here to the right, and you'll see the name Maria Brañas Morera. Okay, so I need to do this now. Let's move this up here. 117, oops, not 111, 117. Okay, why do I have her on here next to President Nelson? The reason why is because if you go all the way back to 1843, Joseph Smith said on April 6th of all days, were I going to prophesy, I would say the end will not come in 1844, 5 or 6 or 40 years. There are those of the rising generation who shall not taste death till Christ comes. And then there's a few other versions of that, but they all, they say the same thing. You can find it on josephsmithpapers.org. So Bruce R. McConkie commented on this, and he talked about the fact if you had a parent at the time that Joseph Smith said that, say you had a male, like a father who was 18 years old, and he fathered a child. Well, later on in his life, he could have more children, especially if he lived plural marriage. And I've done videos where we've shown examples of people who have had children that have fathered children in their 80s, in their 90s. So this hypothetical parent that was alive at the time that Joseph Smith said that, at the age of 82, he could have had Maria Brañas Morera, who is currently the oldest living person in the world. And it's been a while since I've checked on her to see if she's still alive. And this just came out on July 20th. This is Catalan News. And by the way, Catalunya, that's a part of Spain. It's a province. There's some of them that want to break away and become their own country. But that's where I served my mission. It was the Barcelona mission, which included Catalunya and all that. So anyway, she just turned 117 years old. Interesting number, given that President Nelson is the 17th president of the church, and he's about to turn 100 years old. But anyway, so we don't know. I mean, there's no official registry of every single person in the world, and along with that, their ancestry. So we don't know how many people out there may qualify as this rising generation that Joseph Smith was talking about, but she could have, and there could be others. And she's not too far. Well, she is kind of a contemporary of President Nelson. This same parent, the 18-year-old at the time of Joseph Smith, if he had a child at 99 or 100 or whatever, at 99, that would be when President Nelson was born. Say it was a 16-year-old, say it was, who knows? Things were different back then. But you can see that we're kind of in that time frame. So I'm keeping an eye on it. And it seems like as time goes by, these generational quotes become more and more frequent and more explicit. And Just for that one person out there that's new to the channel that says, oh, they've always said it. They've always said that we're the rising generation. I want to remind you that if you're leaving a comment, you are still alive. If you're not, then okay, you're supposed to be doing other things in the spirit world, but you're still alive. And I've been keeping track of this, and I have not found any generational statements before 1966. So if you have them, please send them to me, and I'll add them to my spreadsheet. The only two is the one from Joseph Smith that we just talked about, his prophecy, essentially. And then we have one from Joseph Fielding Smith, who said, I sincerely believe it will come in the very day when some of us who are here today, which at the time he wrote this was April 5th, 1936, will be living upon the face of the earth. And that would include President Nelson. At this time, President Nelson was 12 years old. But aside from that, all other generational statements, quotes, whatever, they start in 1966, and then they increase in frequency as time goes on. Okay, and now we have our newest two, thanks to Vanessa, and they are my first ones for, they are my first ones for this year, for 2024. If I've missed any, please let me know. Have a look at my spreadsheet. Access it. It's called Quotes, Rising Generation. But this is one of the many, many, many reasons why I feel like the second coming is sooner than later. This is one of the many. We're just talking about the rising generation, and that, just this alone leads me to believe that it's sooner than later. So I'm also tracking the age of the modern nation state of Israel. There's this idea that there's the curse of the 8th decade. They are currently in their 8th decade, and the curse is that Israel, as like a united country, has never existed for more than 80 years. And so I've done videos about that too, but you can look that up if you want. But I think that's going to be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.